Neutral buoyancy is a state of mind in the water, and while it does come naturally to some of us, it can take a while for some of us to master it. While we do teach you proper buoyancy in your first scuba course, we should actually be spending a lot more time on it over some of the other skills that we teach you. Most of your buoyancy is about proper weighting, and divers often overweight themselves so much that it will be super difficult for them to maintain neutral buoyancy throughout the entire dive. Okay, so almost half of you voted for it, so we're doing it. Here is, you need to practice your buoyancy control when. Number 1. The only place you can hover is on the surface. Of the two extremes of buoyancy, positive is probably the best. You don't want to be planted on the seabed trying to figure things out. If you're going to lose your buoyancy, most will lose it in an upwards direction, and it'll be because there's too much air in your BCD or dry suit. Yeah, go figure, Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
That'll probably be why. So whilst you're diving, you should only have a teeny tiny bit of air in your BCD max. Anything extra and you're wearing too much lead probably. If you're stuck on the surface with an empty BCD, then yeah, you're not wearing enough lead. Remember that your buoyancy and the number on the bathroom scales are completely different concepts, so just make sure that you do your buoyancy check correctly and spend your time on it at the beginning of every dive. Number 2, on ascents, your whole body clears the water. You don't want to be Willy out of Free Willy jumping over the rocks at the end of the dive, or in your case, it'll be jumping over the dive boat. Ascents need to be controlled, and remember that the 2 buttons on your BCD aren't up and down buttons.
Yeah, they are.
No. If anything, you should be pressing the dump release button as you ascend to release any expanding gas as you go up. Every diver should be able to hover at 3 meters with an empty BCD and 50 bar in their cylinder, just in case the worst should happen. Number 3, wearing fins makes it harder to walk on the seabed. Gravity is a heartless puppy. And the opposite of number 1, I suppose. If you're scraping your knees on the sand, then you probably need to ditch a little lead off your boat belt the next time, or maybe invest in a bigger, better BCD. Scraping the bottom can damage both yourself, your gear, and the environment, and you're just ruining the view for everybody behind you by kicking up the sand and the silt. If the diver behind you can trace your path by the puffs of sand left in your wake, then you need better buoyancy, and probably a better finning style too. Number 4. Use 50 bar to breathe and 150 bar for your BCD. Your BCD should only be used for a little squirt at the beginning of the dive and venting little by little as you go back up. If you're reaching for your inflator all the time during the dive, then you need better buoyancy, and again, probably less lead. The less leads you have, then the less air you need in your BCD, and the less buoyancy adjustment you'll need in the water. If you need a stage cylinder just for your BCD, then you need to rethink your buoyancy and your life. Number 5. Being neutral in the water means just not fighting with your buddy. Being positive, negative, and neutral has nothing to do with your relationship status with your buddy. Even if you hate your buddy, you still need to have a neutral state of mind in the water. I know it sounds a bit new age and hippy-dippy, but you need to visualize the dive beforehand so you can train your mind to be neutrally buoyant. That way, you'll use less gas, stay down for longer, and maybe, your relationship with your buddy will improve.
I'm your buddy. What are you talking about?
The only way is up. So yeah, there are a few ways you know if you have bad buoyancy. To try and do something about it, maybe join your local dive club and practice in the pool where it's safe. If you have any other suggestions for other divers out there, then let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and always remember, Neutral Buoyancy Turtle judges you. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.